You started at Texas Tech, the musical theater component, correct?
That's right. There was a BFA program here already. A Bachelor of Fine Arts existed, and the two tracks for that BFA program were technology and design, or design and technology, and then track in acting. And so when I arrived in 2014, I remember us talking about the fact that we'd like to see something shift with the BFA in acting and increase the process, or shift the process of being accepted into that program. And then at the same time, I had mentioned when I was interviewing for the job with Mark Charney, who, by the way, was the reason I actually decided to come here, because I felt that he was such a visionary. And that has proven to be true. So we embarked on putting together the curriculum for a musical theater track. My first year, I started working on that. The second year, we submitted it as a proposal for to our faculty, and we started looking for a musical theater hire, and that actually happened, and we started very, very humbly, and now we have next fall we will have our first full 4-year cohort. We take 12 students each year, 6 in musical theater and 6 in acting. They are both acting tracks, but musical theater has obviously a more focused concentration on dance and singing. But we're all actors. That's the premise. They happen to act, sing, and dance. Some actors really are just actors, and probably shouldn't. But that versatility is what we're looking for. So even actors train musically and through movement. So all of that's key. But yes, we launched the program, and next spring will be our first BFA showcase in New York City next spring. We are anxious and excited about that. I brought my agent down from New York, Diane Riley, to work with our students for a weekend this past spring. In fact, it was the weekend before all of the shutdowns began to happen.
Oh, wow.
So it was just in time, timely as anything I've ever seen. She brought down a wonderful casting director with her. The three of us worked with students that weekend. They were able to meet an agent, a real live working agent in New York City, and a casting director, a real live working casting director. They were able to perform in front of them. They were able to ask any questions that they had. It was exciting for Casey, my colleague in the musical theater track, and a fellow professor in the BFA program, to see them expand and feel comfortable working in front of such a number of professionals. It's more important, I think, that they be able to meet casting directors and agents in their own turf, on their own turf, if you will, rather than wait till they get to New York and suddenly be overwhelmed, realizing that they're in the presence of somebody of that stature in an office, and it's so impersonal it can be. Now they'll be able to walk in and say, I know you. Oh, this is good. This feels right. And they won't be quite as nervous, or at least that's our goal in getting them that access, that exposure at this point in time.
What are some tips for any high school students that say, well, I want to go into theater, I just don't know what route to go?
Well, if they're interested in the theater, it's probably important now that they be working as an actor in high school. Is it impossible for someone who has no theater experience or acting experience to join us in the School of Theater and Dance? No. We have a Bachelor of Arts program that is really tremendous and offers a huge range, a panoply, if you will, of options in terms of focus and what it is that students are interested in studying. And they're certainly welcome without an audition to join us in that program. And then in the BFA program, there would need to be experience or an extremely tremendous amount of talent when auditioning for the BFA program. We are looking for talent, but more than anything, we're looking for, I would say, generosity of spirit in our students. We are looking for students who are interested in it and are about the work. that's what we train for, and that's what excites us about new students coming in, is preparing them for that life and knowing that the work is what it's about, not our egos, not how big a star we are or anything. I had a student once say, I just really want to be a star. And I said, well, I may not be the teacher for you. We don't teach stars. We don't teach you how to be a star. That stuff is whatever it is. What we do teach is how to do the work, how to comport ourselves while doing the work. So I would say to students, be sure that you have an idea or an inkling of what it is that you're interested in. If it is design, then all out, go for design and technology. If you are an actor and you know it and there's nothing else in this world that you can do, then I would hope that you'll audition for the BFA program. And if not, I hope that you will come and join us in the BA program and still learn and train. Both of those degrees are incredibly, I think, powerful. When you graduate with any degree, a Bachelor of Arts in Theater, with either degree, rather BFA or BA, you're really graduating with a large amount of knowledge about so many things. It's a liberal arts university, of course, and we're exposed to so many different categories and subjects that are important. But I find that theater students themselves are usually so adaptable and so easily hired by many people in the country. I worked for Morgan Stanley for 2 years, so, and I had a theater degree. So they paid me very well, but they liked me because I was adaptable. And I think that's one of the things about theater students. We learn people behavior, and we learn how to adapt and learn to work with other folks in a good way, in a positive way. And that speaks volumes, I think, for us. And I think employers are willing to take risks and hire theater students because they know our work ethic is off the charts. Because we're always in the theater, we're always rehearsing, we're always in class, we're always doing something. So it's exciting in that sense to be able to say, hey, I have confidence that if you get a degree in theater, you're still going to be able to work and find work. And I'm happy to talk to parents about that too, because that's often a very scary road for a parent, seeing a student move into the arts. Sure it is, but these days any journey is a little bit unsure. And I think when you're able to work on your own person, yourself as an actor, and able to work in the theater and learn the work ethic and learn what it's like to accomplish goals, then I think that students are prepared for a really strong work life in or out of the theater.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a cousin who got a BA in theater arts, and now he's working in Dallas as for a marketing firm doing
Absolutely.
pitches to big clients. So
Absolutely. Communications is a huge part of what we do as professionals in any field. And I think that actors certainly, and many people in the theater are so able to communicate effectively and well. So yeah, there are any number of jobs that we can tackle and tackle well.
for students coming into the program, do they have a sense of, I don't, or does it necessarily matter if they want to be dramatic actors or comedic, or is that something that plays into it at all when they come in, or?
Not in terms of the design for study for particular coursework. Acting is acting, and sometimes it's funny, sometimes it isn't. So there's the comedy mask and the tragedy mask, and we need to be able to play a panoply of characters between the two, sad and happy, farce, serious drama, Greek tragedy. It's all part of being an actor, which is why training is so important, Aaron. It's one thing to be able to be funny all the time. It's quite another, as we learned with Robin Williams. So many people knew that Mr. Williams was hilarious and funny, but it was when he went to a dramatic role that everyone went, oh my gosh, he's a beautiful actor. Who knew? That's the goal, to be that versatile, to be able to do highest form of comedy and the deepest form of tragedy. And that's one of the great things about being an actor, dealing with that emotional life and learning how to handle that emotional life technically within context of rehearsal, within the context of performance, and then step out of that mode immediately when it's over and stay healthy, right? So those are also the things that we teach, is certainly technique, a basic understanding of how to move into a comedic role and how to step out of it when we're done with rehearsal or done with the performance. I can't stress how important it is that actors be able to always understand that we are working, that it's about the work. And yes, the work can be difficult if it's a tragic role or a moment of great pathos or something. Um, what's most important is that we be able to handle that on an emotional level, but still be as truthful emotionally as we can in the moment, but then be as healthy as we can the second that it's over and snap back to who we are and our reality. So I hope that is helpful in explaining the difference between comedy and tragedy, or serial comedy, or dramedy, or whatever. There are many different labels that it has, but for me, it's acting, and yeah.
Good answer. Yeah, and that came from just the idea that there are those folks that go into acting and they do one type of area. I guess they get cast into that more times than not, but then they go into other fields like Robin Williams, you were saying, and it's really interesting to see them go from one completely different thing to another as an
It is.
actor.
Well, I think that's the exciting thing. The regional theater model years ago was that there was a company of actors who worked in a regional theater, and they lived there, they lived in the community, they performed, and every show they played a different character. So audiences came to that theater and they saw the same actors playing very different types of roles. And the excitement of seeing someone take on a different persona, a different character, a different life every time you go to the theater was quite something. And now we see that in film and television, certainly, um, and certainly on stage. So it's a big part of it, being chameleons. I think that that's a source of pride for an actor, being able to be versatile.